The first question is, what are the differences between block elements and inline elements? Well, the block elements are the elements that will span the entire width of the parent element and won't allow any other element to occupy the same horizontal space that it is placed on. But inline elements don't start from a new line like the block elements, and they can't be placed directly inside the body element and must be nested within block elements. Block elements start a new line and inline elements don't start with a new line. The block elements take all the width available. The inline elements will take only the required width that's necessary for displaying its content. Also, block elements has top and bottom margins, but inline elements don't. Okay, the second question is, what is a semantic element? Semantic elements are one of the new features that are part of HTML5. They intend to help the developers in quickly creating the page structure. A semantic element has its meaning expressed to both the browser and the developer. Also, all the modern browsers support this feature. However, it's possible for a developer to train old browsers to handle unknown elements. Some semantic elements are article, figure, header, footer. These elements has its meaning, its particular meaning expressed very nicely to the developer. Well, the third question is, what is a CSS box model? Actually, in CSS, the term box model is used when we are talking about design and layout. The CSS box model is essentially a box that wraps around every HTML element. It consists of margins, borders, padding, and the actual content. The different parts of CSS box model are: content is the content of the box where text and images and other things appear. Padding clears an area around the content. Padding is transparent. Border is that goes around padding and content. Margin clears an area outside the border. The margin is transparent also. Next question is, have you used Flexbox and CSS Grid before? What are the differences between them? Yes, I have used Flexbox and Grid. I created a calendar with these two, integrating them together. Flexbox is mainly meant for one-dimensional layouts, while Grid is meant for two-dimensional layouts. Flexbox is very useful layout tool, especially for smaller areas within the site. Its main features are to align items in horizontal and vertical axes, space them out automatically, invert the order in which they are displayed, along with a few other layout options. And CSS Grid is more of a layout tool for the entire page. We should use CSS Grid rather than Flexbox for the layout of an entire page. While Flexbox excels in laying out items along a single axis, Grid is better for layouts with both horizontal and vertical axes. That's why we shouldn't use Flexbox for big layouts. Flexbox solves some other problems like centering elements within a container and sticky footer. Bootstrap and Bulma are based on Flexbox, but By4 Grid is the most intuitive approach for creating grid-based layouts. It is very good, but browser support is not wide at the moment. However, we could use placeholders for Grid. When I was making the calendar, I previously mentioned I ran into some browser incompatibility issues in Safari when I was using FlexGrow, and I had rewrite my code using inline blocks and math to calculate the width in percentages. It wasn't a nice experience. Then I came across Grid and it really helped me. Okay, it's good. Next question is, differentiate between JavaScript and Node.js. Well, JavaScript is a programming language that's used for writing scripts on the website. While Node.js is a JavaScript runtime environment. JavaScript can only be run in the browsers. Node.js can be run outside the browser. JavaScript is basically based on the client side, while Node.js is mostly used on server side. JavaScript is capable enough to add HTML and play with the DOM, but Node.js doesn't have the capability to add HTML tags. Also, JavaScript can run in any browser engine like JS Core in Safari and SpiderMonkey in Firefox and V8 engine in Chrome, but Node.js can only run in V8 engine of Google Chrome. JavaScript is used in front-end development. On the other hand, Node.js is used in server-side development. Some of the JavaScript frameworks are Lambda.js, Type.js, etc. Some of the Node.js modules are Lodash, Express, etc. These modules can be imported from NPM. JavaScript is an upgraded version of ECMAScript that uses Chrome's V8 engine written in C++. Node.js is written in C, C++, and JavaScript. Okay, that's great. The last question I have for you is, what's the difference between MongoDB and MySQL? MySQL is a SQL type of database management system, while MongoDB is an example of NoSQL database management system. MySQL uses a structured query language, but MongoDB uses unstructured query language. MySQL has a predefined schema. There must be a relationship between rows and columns. On the other hand, MongoDB doesn't have such restrictions. MySQL supports SQL join statements, but MongoDB doesn't support any join operations. MySQL is slower than MongoDB if we compare in terms of large query handling. MongoDB is faster for handling large query. MySQL has master-slave replication, but MongoDB focuses on shading and auto-election. MySQL has the best community support, but MongoDB doesn't have community support as good as it. MySQL is mainly used for OTP, that stands for online transaction processing, and MySQL is mainly used for OLAP, online analytical processing. Oracle, PostgreSQL, SQLite are some of the alternatives to the MySQL SQL database. Cassandra is one of the alternatives to MongoDB NoSQL database. Actually, although MongoDB and MySQL both are free and open source databases, there are a lot of difference between them in the terms of data representation, relationship, transaction, querying data, schema design and definition, performance, speed, normalization, and many more. To compare MySQL with MongoDB is like a comparison between relational and non-relational databases. Thank you.